Moving on then to the further questions on the white paper. Darren Henry. Darren.
Thank you. To Minister Keegan, the people at the Heart Care White Paper, our witnesses have said that they lack milestones to be able to chart progress against the 10-year vision. So will the department be publishing milestones and measures of success?
Well, that's part of what we've been discussing today. When's the next bit of information? When are we going to have? So we will be developing, working with stakeholders as we are at the moment, to develop and design the implementation of the measures and how we'll do that in the white paper. And we will also explore with stakeholders and sectors on measures of success in the future. What do we measure? Do we measure retention? Do we measure so we will be setting that out, and we will be looking to make sure that we have those things in place. And from my perspective, my personal perspective, I'm very keen to have outcomes-based measurement to check that all of the work we're doing, all of the money we're putting in, all of the efforts that everybody's going to make to reform this system have ultimately make a massive difference to the people who rely on social care.
Thank you. And so witnesses have welcomed data sharing itself. So is there going to be a social care data framework published at some point?
Yeah, we'll be sharing our proposed approach on the framework with the Data Alliance Partnership in June. And after that, we'll be engaging with the sector to include what data we need to collect, what data we can collect, what data we want to collect. So that's and this is new, and this is, I believe, will be transformative as well, because how you make some of these decisions and make sure we put the right things in place when you don't have any data is part of the issue, part of the problem that we need to address.
And will it include the number of carer assessments and a list of unpaid carers?
Well, we need to. Well, I've just answered. I mean, provide it in June. So I don't have the details yet, but I'm very happy to make sure we forward that to you once we publish it in the early stages. It's clearly got to have things that make sense in terms of measurement, and the stakeholders and a lot of the sector, I'm sure, will come up with many ideas on that.
Thank you. Now, putting these systems in place to collect the data, plus we've got the data reform bill, which would introduce data protection legislation as well. So just concerned about how we make sure that local authorities and care providers don't get overwhelmed by this new data regime. Do you want to comment on that, please?
Well, first of all, our aim is to collect and share the data across the sector in a way that minimises the burdens. I mean, technology can help a lot with this, and it may be that we need to evolve the technology over the 10-year period as well. But we obviously need to carefully consider the frequency, how much data we collect, when we collect it, and also how much we can automate the collection of it as well, which will probably be a longer-term ambition because we're starting from a very low base, but that is absolutely our focus. And of course we'll work with the sector, including the CQC as well, because obviously they will be using a lot of data, and we'll make sure that we minimise it's the most sensible approach that we can have, and we will minimise the burdens as far as possible. But clearly, if you haven't been collecting much data and you don't have much data, then there will be burdens that aren't there today to collect data. But I would argue that making decisions on data relieves a lot of other burdens.
Thank you. The Care Quality Commission has a new duty to assess local authorities' delivery of their adult social care functions. And this is something that's expected no sooner than October 2023. But there's a concern that bringing in this new assurance process, whilst councils are trying to grapple with the new charging and integration, and also, we've had the aftermath of COVID as well. Do you want to comment on that? Just being overwhelmed.
I mean, obviously we're moving to a point where there's going to be a CQC assessment where it isn't there today, more accountability where it isn't there today, more transparency where it is. So that's clearly going to, be concerning a lot of local authorities to make sure that they get ready to be able to demonstrate their good performance. They'll begin in April 2023 with a 2-year programme of comprehensive assessments for local authorities, and that'll help us to establish a clear picture across the country. We'll roll out with the sector a system that supports local authorities. I mentioned there was £70 million, which is there to help local authorities to get ready and to be able to continue to share back best practice and to be able to deliver on those. You know, we're not going to leave them alone in this process. We're very much there to say we realise it's a big change, and we will be committing to £70 million. But we need to do this because they're an integral part of the system, and they are an integral check and balance in terms of how we're delivering on our promises to the people to be able to fix adult social care. So we will be there alongside them as well, though.
Thank you, Chair.
Moving on to the issue of integration.